to the lock position. Gary Teichmann will captain the side again. Andre Venter has shown impressive form in the test that he's played, and it'll be interesting to see whether the Springboks pack has been bolstered up by the presence of Visa. Just one change in that side. Andy Mertens returns at fly half. Incredible record for the pack of forwards. This is their 10th test in a row. Big day today for Michael Jones, his 50th test match, and so too for Ian Jones, playing his 58th test match, which equals the lock record held by Gary Wetton. And so Ian Jones is recovered from his knee injury, and it'll be a big, big day for him. Equally the most capped lock ever. Well, they've flown Fritz van Heerden up from Cape Town. Gary Pagel comes in to bolster up the bench there. And then it's interesting to see Glenn Taylor on the bench for the All Blacks because of the worry about injury. Derek Bevan today will be playing his 31st test match, which is far and away many more than any other test referee. An all-Welsh trio today with the touch judges Davies and Jones. With me this afternoon, as normal, my old mate, commentating mate, but Springbok lock forward, Schalk. It's you mentioned earlier that it was a tough time for the Springboks at the moment, and South Africa really looking for a necessary win.
Ja, ik moet zeggen, eerstens baie dankie vir daai verwelkoming. Baie lekker hier op Ellis Park, die laaste toets teen die All Blacks. En ek dink dit is een van daardie toetse waar indien Suid-Afrika vandag wen, sal daar ten minste nog 'n glimlag op hierdie hele wonderlike land van ons wees wanneer daai man teruggaan na Nieu-Seeland. En werklik waar al reeds is daar boeke wat uitkom en geskryf word in Nieu-Seeland oor hierdie basies amper onoorwinnelike Nieu-Seeland span. Maar die Springbok, ek dink vandag gaan uitkom met durf en daad en werklik waar hier op Ellis Park probeer om die kous oor die kop van hierdie All Blacks span te trek.
Well, Michael Jones, you can see the modest man. He will lead the side on. A sporting gesture there by Sean Fitzpatrick. And one wonders if Michael Jones didn't have those wonderful religious beliefs, how many test matches he would have played, because he still refuses to play on a Sunday. You'll notice that Ian Jones's leg is quite heavily strapped. Jeff Wilson, the try scorer, two tries in the second test match. Well, look at that, a great moment for Michael Jones. Gets a huge welcome from this packed Ellis Park Stadium.
Altijd een wonderlijke gebeurtenis, 50 toetsen voor zijn land. En zoals je heel terecht gezegd, die man heeft nog niet toets gespeeld op een zondag niet. Ons trots, Gary Teichmann, en die Springbokspan achterom. David Tron is heel eerste volle toets. En dan James Dalton, Marius Herter en daar die drie mannen. Ik denk niet dat besef zelf hoe belangrijk het is dat we vandaag die All Blacks voer met aanpakken. Zo Wiese, Atherton, die vaste vijf, Creer, Venter. Juist, zo komt die man weer af. Henry Hannibal, hij heeft een baie belangrijke taak vandaag weer.
And the field is in magnificent condition for this game. You may be interested to know Transvaal under-23 team beat the South African Technicons team quite handsomely in the early curtain raiser. Now Gary Teichmann will be looking to captain South Africa to a win here, and his first win as a captain. Packed stadium, magnificent sight, and in a few moments we will have the most moving of the situations with the national anthems. God defend New Zealand, and Kosi Sikeleli and Distem.
Terwijl die spannen daar rond paradeer, kijk net hier, volgepakte Ellis Park. Maar hier, daar die voorkop van Gary Teichmann, baie goed opgebind daar. Dis 'n lang sny, ek het hom Dinsdag gesien, is omtrent 'n duim en 'n half op sy voorkop. En hy sal ook nie graag vroeg in hierdie wedstryd 'n harde stamp daar wil opdoen nie.
We're talking about injuries, it's just quite incredible. That man there, Sean Fitzpatrick, the fact that his body has lasted, one wonders what his neck will be like when he's about 65 years old, with all the pressure that he's had, and he's played in the 5th most internationals of all time. packed as this. It was for the World Cup final. Will it be a repeat of that most incredible rugby match? There's the player of the series, certainly the media player of the series, Zinzan Brook. What a wonderful rugby player, incredible skills. Every time I see Zinzan off the field at hotels or just sitting around the swimming pool or something like that, Zinzan, the leader here, is the man who has a ball in his hand. Well, the All Blacks have only had to use 16 players in this series. John Hart, their coach, was saying that the players had prepared extremely well. Sean Fitzpatrick, just great authority over this side. And so the 50th game for his country, that man Michael Jones. Recovered from very serious knee injury and knee surgery. Big moment too for Henry Honeyball. Will he be the man to attack the advantage line? Andy Merton's prolific point scorer. Robin Brook on his left, Otto Brown. Derek Bevan requires the captains to say that they're ready. Zinzan always in position for those kickoffs. See, he's not scared to use his left foot. This is just Mertens is on it, so is Cullen. Oh, and under your bear so nearly was able to take that ball. Great cover by Glenn Osborne. No advantage to South Africa. The referee does have a mic on him, but he won't allow it to go out to the listeners.
Baie hoë bal hier, ongelukkig André Berber nie kan raakvat nie. En dit sou 'n guldige lente gewees het vir Suid-Afrika. Kyk daar die goeie scrum van die All Blacks.
Well, that's a very strong scrum and an ominous sight for South Africa. Saw James Dalton just pop out. Craig Dowd very strong on the loose head side. Once again, it's a strong scrummage by the All Blacks. Such a well-knit pack of forwards. And Brook just getting stragged by Van der Westhuizen.
Sean Fitzpatrick wat al vroeg in die wedstryd met die skeieregter praat. Meneer Bevan wat vir hom sê, moet jy net nie daaroor worry nie, ou partner. Ek het daar aan die oorkant het ek 'n vlagman wat ook gaan kyk. Kom ons hou net op. Zinzan Broek wat daar neergetrek word deur Joost, en dan vanweer die feit dat hy daar vir Zinzan verhoed het om die bal te speel. En toe ek vroeër met meneer Bevan gepraat het, hy juist gesê gaan baie streng daarop wees dat die persoon wat die laagvat uitvoer die baldraer moet toelaat om te speel.
South Africa managed to get that ball from the All Black put in. Now it's Visa. Strong tackling by the All Blacks. Josh Kronfeld was prominent. Dalton gaining hard. And the All Blacks will have to be careful here. Van der Westhuizen. Good little kick that by Van der Westhuizen, turning the All Blacks around.
Okay, I'm watching.
Baie belangrik vroeg in hierdie toets vir Suid-Afrika om hulle gebiedsvoordeel te behou, nie foute te maak en sodoende deur die gewone spel druk op die Nieu-Zeelanders te plaas. Dis een van ons foute tot dusver gewees, ons kon nooit daai druk omsit in punte nie.
Robin Brooks, the man who goes high, a little bit low, but put in by Sean Fitzpatrick. And James Dalton was on to Marshall in a flash.
Dis beter druk deur die middel van die lyn staan daar die man Marshall. Hy het skitterende spel gelewer sover, maar kyk net vir Dalton. Vir die eerste keer baie druk voor deur die lyn staan. Goeie spel James Dalton.
Visa to Andrews at 4, and it's Venter who takes. Venter, who's been very useful in the line-outs, adding an extra player for South Africa's armoury. Van der Westhuizen, Honeyball, interesting switch to Dalton. And the referee said there was obstruction by the South African players. Interesting that Southern Hemisphere referees tend to allow that a lot more than Northern Hemisphere referees. Mertens. That's a better punt than his first attempt. Quite amazing how guys can recover.
Kom ons hou net dop daar. Ek sê as die enige een baie beslis kan 'n mens sien dat Pieter Hendricks daar in 'n onkant posisie deelgeneem het aan spel.
This is Frank Bunce, good tackle by Donny van Skartvik. Honeyball was there as well. On penalty, South Africa. This is in a kickable position. The All Blacks penalised for going off their feet. So big responsibility for Henry Honeyball this afternoon. Scored 10 points against Fiji.
Nu daar kan 'n mens ook sien. Daar linker duispier van hom het 'n bietjie probleme besorg het vroeër. Verbind.
Little or no wind to speak of. And he struck it well. That's a great kick.
En die verligting op daai gesig is groot. Harry Teichmann is baie trots wees op sy Natalspanmaat daar, Henry Honeyball sy eerste skop.
Honeyball. He's wrapped up by Robin Brook. Van der Westhuizen, Hubert. Offside by the All Blacks. Well, Derek Bevan being very strict on the laws at the moment. Quite rightly so by the referee.
Ja, baie belangrik in hierdie toets, vroeg in die toets, dat die skeieregter sy merk afdruk op die toets en val daar die Nieu-Zeelanders was sien op die dusver wat voor die agterste persoon sy voete gestaan het en dan net voor die bal uitgekom het begin hardloop het. En Bevan het dit raak gesien. Goeie skop. Kom ons hou dit op. Daar gaan die Nieu-Zeelanders. Baie goeie kameraskoot daar deur die Supersport kameramanne.
Good jump by Kobus Visa quickly to Van der Westhuizen. Visa once again. The big men go pounding in. Visa in possession. He's tackled by Ian Jones. And the All Blacks may have turned this around. That's good defence by the All Blacks. They turned Visa. I think Kobus Visa was caught a little unawares the second time he got the ball. Didn't turn quite quickly enough.
Ja, maar ek dink wat ook al gebeur het, die ondersteunende voorspelers het so vinnig oor hom gegaan, dat hy heeltemal daar op sy eie gelê het en gedog het, wat moet ek doen? Hy het die bal so opgehou. Kom ons hou nou dop. Skitterende terugspel. Visa het juist daai bal gewen. Kyk dat hoe mooi van die voorspelers almal weg. Visa is niemand wat die bal kan vat nie. Toe neem hy weer deel aan spel.
Mertens. Swart. He's got Joubert with him. Now, is that going to be high? It's, I think, a little too long. Cullen. Good take by Christian Cullen. An amazing record. He's played in 10 tests. This is his 10th test match and has 9 test tries to his name.
Baie interessant daar. Beide die twee Springbok agterspelers wat op hom afgehardloop het, het hulle rug gedraai op hom. En 'n mens sal verwag dat jy altyd jou opponent, veral as hy mak gevang het, met jou rug vir hom te alle tye dop hou en dan terug beweeg. Van hy kan so maklik 'n tikskop neem soos wat Cullen juist daar gedoen het.
Mark Andrews. unfamiliar position for Mark Andrews to be in at 4 in the line out, with Dalton thrown to him. A bit scrappy by the Springboks. This is Mertens, Little. Great tackle by Yapi Mola. It's Henry Honeyball who brought him. It was Henry Honeyball who tackled.
Baie goeie spel deur daai man. Sy bynaam is nie vir niks lem nie, van hy daar juist die man gelem. Kyk nou, hy hom dop. Hy probeer binne toe kom met briete krag. Tel die man op, dop hom om. En die Nieu-Zeelanders hou nie daarvan om van hul voete afgeneem te word nie. Hulle wil eerder die bal in die lug hou. Goeie spel Henry aan die bal.
Must be unlikely that anywhere in the world there is a fly half who tackles as well as Henry Honeyball. Good jump by Mark Andrews, great pass by Van der Westhuizen. Now Teichmann, good tackle by Robin Brook. Van der Westhuizen, Honeyball. This is going to be a tester for Cullen. The Springboks have managed to get under it, and it's taken on now by Marius Herter. Good work by Marius Herter as he lays it back. The referee will wait for advantage, Honeyball, and Teichmann just couldn't get it back, but the Springboks will get a penalty in a very kickable position. The referees have started to become stricter on players who run in the way with their hands up in the air. Here you'll see it again.
Eerstens Robin Broek, die man staan met sy hande op, hy pla eintlik daar. Dan die hoë skop daar deur Henry aan die bal. Ongelukkig hier, die voordeel wat hier by Bevan toegelaat is, net nie benut deur die Springbok agterspelers nie.
Dis aan die ene, daai is afgesny.
10 minutes gone in the first half. This to make it 6 points to 0, and that's what it is.
Henry aan die bal in sy 6ste toets. Baie belangrike bydrae wat hy vandag hier moet lewer. Hy moet die agterspelers probeer aan die gang kry, oor die voordeellyn kom. Ons sal reeds een van die skitterende laagvatte van hom gesien.
Teichmann getting past a number of All Black players. That was good play by the Springbok skipper. Another penalty to South Africa. The All Blacks coming over the top. Sean Fitzpatrick that time. And territorially, it's been all South Africa. It's another big punt by Andre Yebert. So for the first 11 minutes of the game, the All Blacks have spent very little time in South Africa's half, and you can see the penalties have been a big factor. On his home ground, thrown to his provincial lock teammate, Mark Andrews, important at number 4. Andrews is the man. He goes high beautifully. The All Blacks defend strongly. And finally South Africa, just a little handling error as they got it moving forward. But very solid defense by the All Blacks.
Herter en Dowd. Hierdie kant en die oorkant het ons vir Allo Brown. Daar teen David Tron in sy eerste toets.
So it's David Theron who is penalised. Quite interesting, Derek Bevan saying, reckoning that David Theron was scrumming inwards. And Andrew Mertens from that position, that's his own 10-metre line, is having a shot at goal.
Ja, Sean Fitzpatrick, die man daar wat gestraf is, waar van Griek was, oorspronklik vir die Vrystaat gespeel. Maar Sean Fitzpatrick wat hier aandui hoe belangrik het is dat hulle punte kry en in kontak kom met die Springbokke se telling van 6 punte. Dat hy selfs vir Mertens hiervan af 'n poging paal toe wil laat waarneem.
This will be a huge kick if he gets the distance. He's struck it brilliantly. That is a great kick by Andy Mertens. One can't take it away from him. A brilliant, brilliant penalty.
De wijze waarop hij bal geslaan het absoluut moeiteloos.
Mark Andrews under it very quickly, so was Andre Venter. Picked up now by Marius Herter, Dalton in support, but the touch judge's flag is up.
Voor in die lijn staan Robin Broek tegen Kobus Wiese in die middel van die lijn staan. Dus dan voor Ian Jones en Mark Andrews. De Nieuw-Zeelanders is baie lief om hierdie posisie op nummer 4 te gooi.
Tremendous jump by Ian Jones. It's the first really clean ball the All Blacks have got, driven on by Michael Jones, Marshall. Now it's Craig Dowd. Marshall once again, the All Blacks driving it close. Robin Brook, the ball retention is good. Still they drive on, nearing up to the halfway line. The referee waiting for advantage, and that's the best little period of play in the game for the All Blacks.
Weer eens, soos ek vroeger gesê het met Bevan wat die spelerstraf daar, hy sê die verdedigende speler moet toelaat dat die aanvallende speler die bal dra, die bal kan speel, hy mag dit nie voet om die bal daar uit te kom nie.
And so Andy Mertens to attempt another long penalty. I think it was Ruben Creer who was in there, and a bit of deft handiwork there, but it could cost his team 3 points.
Een mooi Afrikaans, dat was nou 3 aangee.
And he hasn't struck this one quite as well, but it's looking good now. It just didn't look as good from the moment he struck it. Charged down by Sean Fitzpatrick, taken by Michael Jones to his flank partner Kronfeld. Desperate defence. You see how hard those All Blacks went through. Justin Marshall couldn't control. James Dalton looking for the referee's advantage.
En ek moet sê die All Blacks wat nou baie praat met die skeieregter, almal van hulle praat met hom.
But it was an earlier Springbok knock-on that the referee has blown up for.
Dis 'n beter scrum.
Marshall, Mertens, chance for Wilson. And Jeff Wilson just unable to pick it up. He's got great ball skills, Jeff Wilson. 4 one-day cricket test caps to his name.
Ons het op Jeff Wilson wat op 19 sy debuut vir die All Blacks gemaak het, 3-3 gedruk het. En toe ook vir die Nieu-Zeelandse cricketspan gespeel het en 45 lopies van 32 balle geslaan het om die All Blacks die Australiërs te laat wen op Hamilton in 'n crickettoets. Die kaptein lyk asof hy 'n landbou daar het.
I think that could well have been an earlier position when he was there. You can see that his ribs are strapped.
Want ek dink na hierdie harde toetsreeks hier kan hierdie spelers terug in die Karibeker reeks.
This is a very important scrum for South Africa. Joos van der Westhuizen's first feed of the scrum. Honey ball hasn't found the touch. Wilson, Cullen, very quick off those feet of his. Look at this. This is dangerous. He had tremendous pace. Good tackle by Visa. Now it's Kronfeld finding space on the outside, a little bit over Osborne's head. Honeyball and Swart in for the tackle. Penalty South Africa. Glenn Osborne's the man who's penalised for playing the ball while still on his knee. And another big kick by Andre Joubert. That's the man who's made such an impact on the left wing. Played full-back for New Zealand in the World Cup final.
Suid-Afrika wat voorloop met besit. Tot dusver beide spanne baie goed gevaar in die lyn staande. Baie groot man daar, Kobus Wiese.
Mark Andrews. Help quickly from David Theron and Kobus Wiese. Van der Westhuizen. Michael Jones and Marshall were the men who tackled him. Venter, Honeyball. Nice little switch by Yapi Mulder. Couldn't get away from Robin Brook, though. Good cover by the lock. This is Ruben Creer. Now Teichmann. Did well to hold on to that because Michael Jones was in the way. The referee a little bit unsighted. Now Marius Herter drives on. Help from Tehran, Ruben Creer. Mark Andrews is right in there quickly. Van der Westhuizen. Osborne will have to move quickly. And that's good play by Glenn Osborne, except it's Stani van Schalkwyk with a chance to counter-attack. Joubert, that should roll a long way.
Andre Joubert, wat in die vorige twee toetse een klein bietjie verroes gelyk het, lyk heel wat beter hier vanmiddag. Goeie opsies tot dusver uitgeoefen. Baie tweede fase besit gewen deur Suid-Afrika.
.43rd game as captain today. Jones, Marshall under pressure again, but recovered very quickly. One of the stars of the tour.
Baie lyn staan kon mense sien hoe Gary Teichmann hom daar baie blitsvinnig afgesny van sy agterlyn. 7-4-9 roep Kobus Wiese. Hy is Teichmann op nummer 2, Mark Andrews tweede van achteraf en het gaan vir Teichmann.
Nice variation by the Springboks. It loosened Wiese up to do that. But look how Brook held him up. Van der Westhuizen, now Dalton. Drive it in low. Ruben Creer. They're about 15 meters from the All Black goal line. Van der Westhuizen looking for some space. The All Blacks drive in back on them. South Africa controlled that ball well. They're put in at the scrum.
Baie goeie dryfbeweging. Daardeur voor in die agterspelers. Joos van der Westhuizen wat ongelukkig op daai stadium toe deurkom. Ons kan ook sien daar is Suid-Afrika omtrent 31 kg voorsprong het in die gewig van die voorspelers. Ongelukkig om homself 'n klein bietjie geïsoleer het van sy ondersteunende spelers. Kyk hoe word daar geskop deur Zinze en Broek. Kyk net daar gaan beweeg maal sy voet daaronder, maar losgemaal. Weer eens goeie kamerawerk daar deur ons manne.
So another important put in for South Africa. The scrum is a lot steadier, except the Daltons just come up a bit. This is Peter Hendricks bumping off Andy Mertens. The All Black centres go in to defend though. And quick ball there to Justin Swart. And South Africa, they've lost it. Just a little knock forward.
Suid-Afrika's wou nie graag daar 'n fout begaan het nie. Kom ons kyk ons groot druk op die New Zealanders kan uitoefen in hierdie scrum. Nee, kry daar is al reeds vorentoe. Daar kom die druk daarna.
Another strong scrum by the New Zealanders.
Dalton se kop is uit.
Brook, well, Van der Westhuizen read it well. Mr. Bevan not quite as well. That was a bit unfortunate for South Africa because Van Westhuizen had interfered with Brook's clearance.
Ja, Joos beïndruk met die druk wat hy op Basel uitoefen.
Zinzan again taking the scrum half duties. Osborne too far. Four minutes gone in the first half. South Africa leading by 6 points to 3.
Eerste 4-man lyn staan. Andrew Zeel agter, Wiesel voor.
Well done by Kobus Wiese, Van der Westhuizen, Honeyball, Van Skalkwyk, Mulder, Ruben Kreer's on his outside. Brilliant by Ruben Kreer. This is Andre Joubert, and Gold, you just couldn't find Peter Hendricks on the inside. Oh, the referee said play on, and Van der Westhuizen has snapped it over. Well, what brilliant opportunism by Joost van der Westhuizen, getting in for his 8th test try. The referee adjudged that Peter Hendricks hadn't knocked it on. Blue, brilliant advantage, and that man was so quick to react.
Baie goeie spel deur die agterspelers, die wyse waarop hulle van mekaar af gehardloop het, die bal gedra het. Die Nieu-Seelandse verdediging oorhoops gehad. Ons kyk of Honeyball die 2 punte kan byvoeg. Ja, daar is nog punte vir Suid-Afrika. Daar is die man wat die breek bewerkstellig het. Andre Joubert. Kom ons hou dit op. Japie Mulder, Ruben Kreer. Nou kyk die hinkstapie na binne toe. Die verdediging van Mertens die dan die terug aangee. Dan van sy hand af op sy knie. Amper kan mense 'n voet aangee daardeur na die alomteenwoordige Joos van der Westhuizen wat sy 8ste toets 3 druk.
Interested to see that Japie Mulder ran back very slowly. Teichmann. Van der Westhuizen. Joubert. Not going quite at the angle that he would have liked, but still clearing out of South Africa's danger zone. In that movement too, a superb pass by Ruben Kreer, timed it just right. Another good jump by Ian Jones, great hands by Marshall. This is Walter Little, Cullen, no, Jeff Wilson rather. Good tackling by the midfielder of South Africa. Another tremendous tackle by Japie Mulder, but he's not looking too good. It's Ruben Kreer who's the man who's penalised. And no doubt Terry Mertens, or Andy Mertens rather, will be going for the posts. Andy Mertens, who's playing in his 16th test match today, with that first penalty of his, moved up to a phenomenal 270 test points. Despite the fact that that was a good strike, it's quite amazing, Scott. I mean, the ball is just going, clearing the crossbar. It's flying over the crossbar, or flying, it has easily the distance. Honeyball. That could be a bit too deep. Zinzan, now Marshall, this guy's got a lot of pace, good cover by Teichmann, but the All Blacks have given themselves the space by bringing all their backs onto this side of the field. Now it's Kronfeld, tackled by Venter. The referee waiting for advantage, there is none, penalty, the All Blacks offside, South Africa. Mark Andrews, the man who was penalised. So Andy Mertens with his 4th penalty attempt.
Van die camera, die oorhoofse posisie. Daar, die bal was nie uit die... En de mens kan baie duidelijk zien, Mark Andrews, wat dan voor die achterste persoon zijn voeten ingekom het. Partykeer kan het ook moeilijk wees dat iemand anders net kon bind. En waar je dalk wel aan kant was, is hier skielik om kan. Belangrijke skop van Mertens.
Well, can you believe it? What should be a pretty simple kick for Andy Mertens, struck the upright. And that's the man that the South Africans must be worried about. He's put in some telling tackles, good little runs, but he really is battling at the moment. And it's Fitzpatrick with the charge down, well recovered by Andre Joubert.
De tweede keer vandaag wat Henry Hannibal daar in Fitzpatrick vastkop. En dat is een klein beetje onverklaarbaar, want die loskakel kan zo ver terugkomen als wat hij missen.
All Blacks this time calling the short line out, just 3 men in it. And it's Jones who goes high, now it's Olo Brown. Good defence by Dalton. Marshall, Brook. Kronfeld comes thundering through. Kronfeld very quick. Good control again by the All Blacks. This is Zinzan. Now Walter Little. He had a lot of men on his outside, but Walter Little keeps going. Kronfeld. Marshall, Mertens, Cullen, and Cullen just creating the space for Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson quickly wrapped up though. And well recovered there by Ruben Creer. The crowd doesn't like Derek Bevan's decision, indicating that there was a South African knock-on.
Nou was de stand van koppen daar, dat was ook een Zuid-Afrikaner. Het kan heel moeilijk Mark Andrews wees, wat houden die mannen zijn koppen op. Ja, en ik denk dat is waar die koppen in elkaar vastgestampt het.
And it was Michael Jones who's discarded his scrum cap. Well, the crowd pretty happy at the moment with a score 13 points to 3. But as we always say, with a 7 points for a goal, it's not a great lead. Mark Andrews and Michael Jones, the 2 men in difficulty. Referee just asking the touch judge to watch the 2 front rankers on the far side. Good scrum by South Africa. Zinzan quickly wrapped up by Andre Venter. Robin Brook recovers well for the All Blacks. Mertens, Bunce, and that's a great little move with Mertens and Bunce, and then it was that man Yapi Mulder who got a hand in the way. Referee says play on, no advantage, All Black ball.
Jaapie Hunkepunt daar weg. Met een baie harde stand daar op zijn rechterboelbeen opgedoen. Kijk dit daar. Zijn bal bij die handen gekregen. Ongelukkig voor en toe. Kijk hoe Hanne 4 voet amper zoals een set neum is. Van ouds kruip je daar op die bal. Krijg hem terug. Goeie spel daar door Jaapie Mulder. Al heeft hij die hanteerfout begonnen.
Well, there's a problem over on the far side there. Ruben Creer pointing out to Derek Bevan that Josh Kronfeld had moved out. Gary Teichmann is packing on the side of Ruben Creer.
Snaaks, wanneer die scheidsrechter daar gaan staan, is alles recht.
Brook, this is Frank Bunce. Again, good tackling by South Africa, but it was very tremendous sleight of hand by the All Blacks. Marshall caught a little bit unawares. Accidental offside, it came off his boot. Well, Justin Marshall can't complain. It came off his boot, hit his players in front of him. Craig Dowd and somebody just having a bit of a skirmish. Looks like Ruben Creer.
Maar dat is snaaks, wanneer die dingen begin verkeerd gaan, hoe hierdie Marshall en die All Blacks nou begin saampraat.
6 minutes left in the first half. South Africa lead by 10 points.
Mark Andrews wat nou sukkel, dit wil voorkom asof het sy skouer of sy nek is. Frans Verster daar by hom, die spandokter.
Yeah, I think what happened, Skalk, is when they clashed heads, he was a little off balance and his neck may have taken it.
Jan G. Hannibal het nou daar nie van Skalkwijk. Dit is die 3. Kyk net, die sny na binne toe, dan die 3 aangee. Die Bevan sê dat die bal is nie vorentoe verloor nie. Joos se 8ste toets-3.
Andre Joubert with the clearance. That's a great kick by the Springbok fullback. You can just see how the surface of the field is looking absolutely magnificent. They've had both experts from Potchefstroom University and Pretoria University caring for this field. They've got over the root problem, and the rye grass has really taken on the condition of the field. Absolutely magnificent. Good play by Michael Jones to Kronfeldt. Honeyball strong again. Marshall, Mertens, Wilson. Good positional play by Van der Westhuizen. Mertens will come back for it. He'll have to open up as well. And Teichmann's anticipated well. Now he must react quickly. He's got Peter Hendricks and Henry Honeyball in support. Gets it away to Honeyball. Justin Swart. Honeyball saw that Swart was covered. Mark Andrews was in there quickly. Penalty South Africa. Clear indication by Derek Bevan over the top. And look at Mark Andrews. He's down and he's battling. Big moment this for South Africa.
Ja, Mark Andrews in sy 24ste toets vir Suid-Afrika. Man wat al 5 toets-3 ook gedruk het. Hy wil nie afgaan nie, ek is doodseker, Frans.
It'll be interesting too, Scott, because Fritz van Heerden is on the bench for Steve Atherton. There's Honeyball just holding on. You see how Swart was covered.
Die bal wat teruggelê word. Zinze en Broek wat amper soos 'n swemmer van formaat daar probeer vorentoe kruip.
Interesting that Andre Joubert has been entrusted with this kick.
Hulle Broeke vir die eerste keer die rooi kruis. So kenteken.
Will that curve in? Will that curve in? Yes, it does!
Wat 'n wonderlike spel rugby is, en ewe skielik kan die Springbokke niks verkeerd doen nie. As mense dan vir die vorige toetse ons gesukkel het om ons momentum aan die gang te kry. 3 minute wat oorbly in hierdie eerste helfte. Baie belangrik vir die Springbokke is dat hulle nie nou toelaat dat die All Blacks punte kry nie.
Tremendous play by Mark Andrews. Van der Westhuizen, Joubert, Osborne is back. This man has an incredible ability to dodge people. And eventually just couldn't get past the might of Kobus Wiese. Robin Brook, Marshall. Good tackle by Venter, well taken in by Zinzan. All Blacks looking good at this position. Marshall, Mertens, looking for a space, and he gets past Honeyball. This is good play by the All Black fly half. Wilson on the inside, Christian Cullen. And there's a tough charge as flag is up.
Skitterende laagvat daar deur Joos van der Westhuizen. Maar hierdie Nieu-Zeelandse span, baie gevaarlike span. Die geleenthede wat hulle vir hulself skep, val aan die buitekant, is wonderbaarlik. Die ene uit, die triang gee daar, dan kan hulle maar kyk net daar, die laag van daar. En hoe naby kan een mens, maar toch ook so ver wees, soos daar bewys deur Cullen.
And Mark Andrews has come off the field. Number 19, Fritz van Heerden. This has to be perfect between Dalton and Visa, and it's a try for the All Blacks. A little bit of a mix-up as Visa tried to take the logbook. Ian Jones has done brilliantly, and Sean Fitzpatrick is in for his 11th test try.
Snaakse opsie uitgevoer deur die Springbokke daar. Ook die feit dat hulle nie voorspelers daarvoor vir die verdediging ingesit. Die kortlyn staan op hulle doellyn. Net een opsie. Kyk net hoe stoot hulle daar vir Jones die lig in. Die teruggang gee. Joos van der Westhuizen weer die man wat daar probeer keer. Kyk net hoe word hy daar opgelig. Dit word 'n bietjie belaglik hoe hulle toelaat dat mense nou opgetel word in die lyn staan, hè.
And Andy Mertens, it's not often you see Andy Mertens succeed with only 1 out of 5 kicks. The All Black captain in trouble. It's been a pulsating 40 minutes of rugby. The referee has blown his whistle for half-time. Too far by Mertens. Well, not a good start for an international fly half. Fly halves, it's quite embarrassing when you do that.
David Tron en Allo Brown. Nie voor hy die op die linkerkant van die Scrum. Die Bevan wat daar praat met hulle en sê bly af, ek wil nie jy moet op Scrum nie. Aan die oorkant kry hy out want die kan afkom nie en Marius Hutter wat besluit ek bly sommer af. Maar die All Black pak wat werklik waar beïndruk het in hierdie 3 toetse sover.
Van der Westhuizen playing the right way, the wheel of the Scrum, but Andre Joubert making a bit of a hash of it. It was the right way for Van der Westhuizen to have gone. He played with the wheel of the Scrum. Ian Jones with that record today, 58th test match for the All Blacks at lock. Justin Marshall, Zunzan, this is Michael Jones. Well tackled by Andre Fenter. Good control by the All Blacks, taken on by Ollo Brown. The control by the All Blacks is very good. See how they continue. South Africa will have to be careful. They leave the hands out of the way. Yeah, they were off their feet and they wouldn't let the ball go.
I gave you the opportunity.
So the easiest kick that Andy Mertens has had all evening. See in the background up on the right-hand top side of the picture, that's just about entirely New Zealand supporters. And would you believe it, that there must be the fact that he only 2.5 weeks ago had a cartilage removed, and Schalk, I think that must be affecting him.
Ja, ek dink dit is een van haar jare waar hy tref die bal baie goed, en soos ons vroeër ook opgemerk het, hy skop die bal baie ver, maar sy rigting en ek dink vertroue op die oomblik is in die Mertens 'n groot probleem.
Much better drop in by Henry Honeyball. Peter Hendricks did well. Van der Westhuizen, Honeyball. And that's a big kick by Honeyball. Will it bounce favourably? Wilson back for it. And Jeff Wilson doing pretty well. He punted it. He would have wanted to have angled it a little bit more downfield because it curled out. It was a good enough punt. And South Africa just in All Black territory. Robin Brook behind him, Craig Dowd. And South Africa again in a little bit of trouble in controlling their own ball at the line-out. This is Frank Vance. With little inside, outside. Got away from Donnie van Schalkwyk. And this is Glenn Osborne. Teichmann with desperate cover. Zinzan waits. The long ball to Marshall. Look how many All Blacks in this line. Cullen. And just trying to get it on the inside. This is good running by Craig Dowd now. Justin Marshall. Peter Hendricks trying to rip it off him. Wilson. Mertens. He had a horde of All Blacks on his outside. Fitzpatrick in possession. Can Hubert get a boot to it? And now Honeyball. There's nobody at home at the back. Cullen was up in the back line. Now manages to get back. Honeyball is up. Cullen in all sorts of trouble. Well, he had reckoned on the All Blacks getting the ball, and it didn't happen that way. Henry Honeyball eventually putting him under a lot of pressure, and then doing well, he and Peter Hendricks, to follow the kick up. Referee chasing on the Springboks as they have a bit of a conference as to where the ball will go. Fritz van Heerden at 4, Kobus Wiese at 2. And well taken by Andre Venter. Craig Dowd does the tackling. There's an All Black hand in the way there. Quite right, Mr. Bevan. But the Springboks are in a little bit of trouble now. Schalk, this is your department. You know all about the line-outs. And what has happened, of course, Fritz van Heerden only flew up yesterday, so impossible for he and James Dalton to have practice to go to.
Ja, ek dink daai bal was daar vir Kobus Wiese. Hy het die lang bal aangevra. Die bal was te ver gegooi gewees, maar baie goed daar gevat uiteindelik deur Andre Venter. Daar sien ons hoe die bal teruggewerk is daar deur Zinzan Broek. En hulle probeer hulle beste om die reëls so klein bietjie weier te rek vir hulle om in te speel.
$16 points to 8, South Africa lead. Henry Hubert doesn't waste much time, but is successful once again. Well, quite amazing. South Africa successful with every kick at posts.
Kyk net hier, die bal liggies bons hy daar van die regte paal af. En intussen is Stransky op die veld. Voorkom as Japie Mulder af is.
Well, that's a good kick by Joost van der Westhuizen, but well, fallen back well is Osborne. So South Africa now in a little bit of trouble. Glenn Osborne, who's really such an elusive player, has that ability to throw people off balance. Joel Stransky has moved to fly half. Henry Honeyball into the centre. Japie Mulder, who had a very good first half, unfortunately off the field. Good work by Andre Venter. Michael Jones had read it. Van der Westhuizen just trying to take the pressure off Joel Stransky. Honeyball was in there. Stransky gets now. Can he find some space here? Yes, he can. Andre Venter, he's got men on his outside. This is Andre Joubert. He's got Justin Swart on his outside. He's gone all the way!
Daar's nog spoed in die ou bene en punte vir Suid-Afrika. Die geleentheid is geskep vir hom daar. En kyk die vreugde hier op Ellis Park. Joe Stransky daar by hom. Die finale aangee daar, sit die bal. Die puriste sê is op die verkeerde arm, maar hy het besef, dis met spoed wat hy daar gaan deurkom. Justin Swart was daar, millimeters te spaar. Kom ons hou dit op. Joe Stransky wat daar hinkstap daar omgaan. Andre Venter wat vat en aangee. Bans, Marshall is te laat. 5 punte vir Suid-Afrika.
And the conversion not good. So Andre Joubert getting in for his 6th test try. Just look at the pace he cracks on. He gets away from Frank Bunce. He'd actually decided that he wouldn't need Justin Swart. Brilliant try by the Springbok fullback. Visa makes a good catch.
Hy het 'n wonderlike wedstryd vandag. Goeie verdediging, goeie dryfbewegings. Is ook skitterende spel in die lynstaande.
Stransky's kick getting away from Osborne a little bit. He did very well to keep it in field. Cullen is up in support. And South Africa have gained an awful lot of ground.
Vir die eerste keer in die afgelope 3 toetse teen die All Blacks, die vertroue van die 2 spanne, mense kan baie duidelik sien, die Springbok span begin met al meer vertroue speel, en is baie keer ongelooflik hoe dan alles vir jou begin regloop.
Sets van Heerden, the crowd roar. Quickly there was David Thron. Huge support from Kobus Visa as well. Van der Westhuizen looking desperately for support. Ruben Creer is strong. Michael Jones makes a heavy tackle. Van der Westhuizen, Hannibal. Owen Joubert was on the inside. Brilliantly picked up by Van der Westhuizen once again. Teichmann on his shoulder. Joubert is up in the scrum half position. Visa. He wants to stay on his feet for as long as possible. They're 5 meters from the All Black line. Van der Westhuizen. Now it's Stransky once again, showing Fleetfoot. This is Dalton. Dalton is in. The referee says no. He's off the ground. Scrum down South African ball. James Dalton so nearly getting a try on his home ground.
Goed gespeel daar deur Bullet. Soos hulle hom ken hier in die Transvaal. Van die heup van Stransky af het hy met spoed deurgekom. Hou net op, daar van Stransky af op die regterkant. Daar verloor hy die bal.
In fact, the referee said he was held up. He was actually short of the line. Kobus Visa in a bit of trouble. And Ian Jones is coming off. He had trouble with those knee ligaments and he's replaced by Glenn Taylor. Well, he's had a wonderful test career, that man. He's as tough as teak, but just tweaked some knee ligaments. And when they brought Glenn Taylor on onto the bench, normally it's Blair Larson who is there. So a big moment for Glenn Taylor as well. Joel Stransky gets his 22nd test cap, quickly fed by Van der Westhuizen.
Kijk net hoe stevig is daar die All Black voor hy. Ek moet sê, vooral as jong kykers by die huis, die basiese vaardighede van hierdie All Black span is skrikwekkend. Maar vandag die Springbok span wat die punte inryg.
The referee in no uncertain terms saying he's going to not take any trouble from anybody, no lip from anybody, and I can't repeat to you what he said.
Ek moet sê die Walliser wat daar vir BP Chemikalie in Britannië werk. Baie streng praat hy met die manne. André, daar sien ons vir Dalton, Marius Herter, wat probeer deurkom in die vaskopkant aan die oorkant. Hierdie kant is David Tron.
And Van der Westhuizen has seized the opportunity. Can he get it down? He's got it down. His second try. And Andre Venter was right on his shoulder. Andre Venter may have got the touchdown. But just watch how quickly Van der Westhuizen reacts to that penalty.
Ek dink nie Speedy Gonzalez kon iets vinniger gedoen het as dit nie. Wat 'n opportunist is hierdie man nie. Just Van der Westhuizen. Die fluitjie gaan blaas. Hou sy hande dop. Hy weet die man is daar by hom, hy tikskop. Justin Marshall kry amper die bal in die hande. Hy kom deur, Marshall kry hom weer in die hande. Hy gaan af. Nee, baie beslis druk. Jos van der Westhuizen. Die 3. Kyk die tikskoppie. Marshall. Weer Marshall wat hom probeer stuit. Maar hy gaan laag. Hulle ruk hom na links oor. En dit is sy 9de toets 3.
And the place kickers have just lost their touch a little bit. Started off so well.
Die vletjie wat blaas, die tikskop, is dit nie aan strand nie. Dan gaan hy deur. Wilson probeer hom keer, hulle ruk hom al weg. Kyk net die vreugde.
Taken by Fritz van Heerden. Van der Westhuizen, Stransky. That isn't out, but it's a long way back for Osborne. Oh, and a huge tackle by Henry Honeyball. And the All Blacks Osborne held on to it. There's a bit of an argument going on between Donnie van Schalkwyk and Frank Bunce. But that was a tremendous tackle by Henry Honeyball.
Osborne kry nie die aangee weg na Jeff Wilson nie. Sy 2 bene is teen mekaar omtrent vasgemessel daar deur Honeyball. Speel die bal terug terwyl op die grond lê. Strafskop vir Suid-Afrika.
And South Africa get this over. This is the most points the South African team have ever scored against a test, an All Black side in the test. Good kick by Andre Yubert. And the record books have been rearranged.
Sean Fitzpatrick en hulle manne natuurlik die geskiedkundige reeks oorwinning wat hulle behaal het hier. So bitter graag wil teruggaan New Zealand toe met 'n reeks oorwinning.
Well played by Van Heerden. And Andre Venter, who's getting better and better with every test appearance. Wilson, no, it's in fact Christian Cullen. Honeyball, look where Henry Honeyball is covering, getting through an enormous amount of work.
Natuurlijk baie rugbykenners in Suid-Afrika wat glo sy beste posisie is binne senter.
Mertens, Bunce, Mertens again. Stransky was coming up quickly. Look at Honeyball once. Oh, that's brilliant! Dubert, Stransky, Swart. Can they find the green in the inside? Oh, Gary Teichmann was crashed into by his own players. The referee will wait for advantage. Marshall. This is Kronfeldt. Drive in hard. Van Schalkwyk blends into ground. Dalton working hard. Marshall again, Mertens. There are a lot of All Blacks over on that side of the field. And that's a very good kick by Andy Mertens. 23 minutes left.
'n Skitterende periode van spel deur die Springbokke daar. Ongelukkig kon hulle net nie daai 3 kry nie. Maar Henry Honeyball met eers met die laagvat en toe met daar die op sy knie die aangee wyd na buite toe na Andre Yubert. Goeie Springbok rugby.
Marius Herter and Kobus Wiese, Sean Fitzpatrick, under the most pressure he's been on this tour. But the All Blacks will go back to New Zealand to a ticker-tape reception. Bit of a shiner there for Cobus Wiese. Taylor did well. So did Dowd. Drives hard with it. Seen the gap. They're just about 4 meters out. Don't ever write this All Black side off. And South Africa have turned it around. Stransky realized it and doubled back very quickly. And Joel Stransky enjoyed what his forwards did there.
Dit is statistiek wat John Hart die New Zealand afrigter nie sal van hou nie. Die aantal balle wat hulle verloor het in die losgemale.
Young Glenn Taylor at number 19 in that line-out, but there's a mix-up with the All Blacks again. Ruben Creer seizes the opportunity. And that's offside, miles offside by Josh Cromfeld.
En hy kan dit nie glo nie, maar ons kan nie glo dat hy so baie keer om kan gaan nie.
Look at this for confidence from Joost van der Westhuizen. Wiese went charging forward van der Westhuizen, but that was the All Blacks lucky to get away with that. Glenn Taylor retrieved for them. Marshall, Zinzan, this is Cromfeld. Good tackle by Dalton. Stransky is also across there, so is Fritz van Heerden. Dalton is in offside position.
Springbokke met 'n bietjie teepraat, 10 meter aan.
Quickly taken by Zinzan. Now this is Andy Mertens. Great tackle by Fritz van Heerden. The referee says he'll wait for advantage. Walter Little getting under Cobus Wiese. Can he get away from Stransky? That's so close to the Springbok line. And they drive it over. What does the referee say? Scrum 5. They managed to hold it up. But look at the surge that the All Blacks come back with. That's Craig Dowd.
Het lijkt soos 'n slagveld daar. David Tron wat moeilijk opstaan. Daar's nog 'n paar Springbokke wat daar op die doellyn lê. James Dalton is een van hulle.
And the referee will have to wait for attention to Dalton because he's in the front row. And so often we see this. It comes from both sides when you're under that sort of pressure. Somebody will normally sit down and have a little bit of a rest, regather the thoughts, and scrum once again.
Alles deel van die wedstrijd. Strategie. New Zealand's ingooi. Kijk vir David Tron hier teen Ola Brown.
Zinzan, Marshall, and this is Cromfeld, held up. Once again, Honeyball makes an important tackle. Can the All Blacks, there are too many hands, they've got to let that ball go.
Moet Suid-Afrika's ingooi wees van dit is losgemaal.
That's tremendous play by the South Africans. They held the ball up off the ground. The All Blacks couldn't move it forward. And you saw about 4 Springboks starting to applaud as Derek Bevan put his hand out South Africa's way.
Jo, ek moet ook sê, daar's 'n paar seervingers daar. Mense kon baie duidelik sien met daai goeie kamerawerk. Hoe die New Zealanders daai Suid-Afrikaanse hande probeer lostrap daar.
Important scrum for both sides. They need to just throw the feet back and settle it. The All Blacks will be shoving a full 8-man shove on this, trying to put as much pressure on as possible. Van der Westhuizen just to making sure there. And the All Blacks have turned it around. That was a very good scrum by them.
Daar is glad te veel druk wat uitgeoefen wordt deur albei spanne voor die bal inkom. En ek weet ook nie hoe Dalton dan daar die bal kan vat nie. Want die scrum het naar rechts beweeg en dat is altyd 'n moeilike een van die beweeg weg van die kant waar die bal ingegooi word. En Fritz van Heerden het seer gekry en daar die scrum wat daar in duie gestort het. Hy het maar 2 uur gistermiddag geland hier in Johannesburg.
And this would be problems for South Africa. Maybe that's another tactical move by Fritz van Heerden. Normally the skipper just gives you a tap on the backside and you'd fall down. Solid scrum by the All Blacks. Zinzan spinning it to Cullen. Honeyball once again prominent. Peter Hendricks was also in there. Penalty, All Blacks. Ruben Creer, the man who was penalised, coming in from the side and going to ground. Now they've got Olo Brown ready to take from Justin Marshall. Sean Fitzpatrick is there, so is Robin Brook. That's good defending by Fritz van Heerden. Marshall, Zinzan Brook, they just keep driving away at the line. This is Walter Little, and Van der Westhuizen desperate to hold him up. Little turned well. Can the All Blacks drive it over the line? This is sustained pressure by them.
In Suid-Afrika wat het baie goed doen. Hulle hou die All Blacks weg van die doellyn af. Hoe lang nog weet die mense nie. Hulle sal bitter graag hier 'n bal wil wen en dan met 'n skop veld wen.
There's 17 minutes left. Marshall, quick hands by Marshall, but Van Schalkwyk comes away with it. Oh, that's brilliant by Donnie Van Schalkwyk, and now a chance for Joel Stransky. Can he go all the way? Christian Cullen has got huge pace. He read it brilliantly. Joubert is there, but he's offside. He got in front of Joel Stransky. Andre Venter having a street fight with 7 All Blacks.
En Andre Venter, een van die vinnigste voorspelers in Suid-Afrika, die wyse waarop hy gehardloop om daar te kom, is die skop uit, ja.
But I must say that was brilliant work by young Donnie van Schalkwyk to have got Stransky away.
Stransky nou, en kom ons houd op. Dit was naby. Het lyk nie vir my asof Andre Joubert daar voor die bal was nie. Van die mens kon baie duidelik sien. Hy was in lyn daar met die 10 meter merk.
I must say from that replay, Scott, you're quite right. That was very, very close if he was in front at all. Just that Andre Joubert was flying up the middle.
En kyk net hoe swaar raal Derek Bevan daar asem.
And it looks like Darby Thron is coming off. And Gary Pagel will come on to replace him. The tough Western Province loosehead prop.
Die man wat ook nie veel moeilikheid verdra nie, Gary Pagel.
Great jump by Robin Brook. He's taken over as the senior lock partner. Marshall, still the All Blacks drive away. Little, lovely little dummy by him. Teichmann and Ruben Creerwood across. And they've rested it off him. Great work there by, it looks like Kobus Visa was in. Now Stransky just probing for ground and he's done beautifully.
Kijk net wat vertrouwen doen aan een speler. Van het hy op die veld gekom het. Hy het baie goeie bydrae geleverd tot dusver in hierdie toets. Joel Stransky kom na links. Het gesien die gapings hier. Nie een All Black in sig nie. Presisie.
Good jump by Robin Brook again. Driving away goes Glenn Taylor. Gary Pagel trying to stem the tide. Marshall, Kronfeld getting past the first tackle. Dalton did well, so did Stransky. The referee has penalised South Africa coming in from the side. Couple of penalties for that against South Africa. Well, John Hart was saying, remember that the All Blacks have played with the same pack of forwards for 4 weeks in a row. They've played 6 test matches in 7 weeks. And John Hart was saying one of the great problems the All Blacks will have is that South Africa have a couple of freshmen. They haven't played in every test match as their boys had. And I must say the All Blacks looking a little bit flat-footed today, but South Africa playing with a lot more confidence. Van der Westhuizen and Stransky. And can he do it again? Which way will that ball go? No, just slithering to a halt. Cullen. Well, quite obviously the Springboks will read that in future. Christian Cullen looks like he's hurt himself a little bit. But indications there that he's not so strong on the left foot.
Ek moet sê die skare wat saampraat en Augustus was 'n bietjie van 'n maar maand vir Suid-Afrika gewees, veral teen hierdie span. Maar die geheue wat so oorbly van Augustus sal hierdie oorwinning wees indien Suid-Afrika dit kan aftrek.
Great jump by Visa, Stransky looking for space. Honeyball was a little bit too close to him. Great counter-attack by Kronfeldt. This is now Jeff Wilson. He's in the full-back position. Osborne, good tackle by Hubert. The All Blacks just never give up. This is Terry Mertens, Walter Little, Iramia. He's replaced Christian Cullen. Good tackling by the South Africans. Look at the commitment of Just van der Westhuizen. Marshall, Zinzan's a long way from him. Osborne on the little, no, Osborne gets. And then Fitz van Heerden makes a telling tackle, but it's too high.
Met oorgawe het Fritz van Heerden daar ingegaan.
Sean Fitzpatrick says to Zinzan, hold on. Then he instructs Terry Mertens to kick the ball exactly where he put it.
Die afstand daarvan teen Osborne. En kyk net daar, die Springbok kaptein wirry hom grond toe.
A lot of people are with the All Blacks now. What does Derek Bevan here say here? And numbers, it looked like that was an interesting decision, that was the All Black throw and then being penalised. 10 minutes to go, 32 points to 8, South Africa lead. There'll be a little bit of injury time. Another good jump by the All Black line-out men, Marshall, Mertens, Bunce, Jeremia. They create space so well to the All Blacks. Can Jeremia find inside? Another good tackle by Andre Hubert. He's defended very well tonight. Andre Venter is there to the point of breakdown very quickly. Derek Bevan has had to say shut up about 70 times tonight. He's been talking on both sides.
Peter Scrum al het Dalton uitgekom. Gary Pagel wat hard werk.
Joubert. It's another big pump by Andre Joubert. Jeremia is back for it, so is Jeff Wilson. Trying to do what he did. Andre Joubert gets it almost right. He read it perfectly, he just couldn't keep the kick infield. Jeff Wilson scored a try last Saturday at Loftus, you remember. The ball bouncing at Loftus a little bit more than it does here at Ellis Park. With this lush surface, Marshall, Mertens, Bunce. Stransky was the man who did the original holding up. Marshall feeding his halfback partner again. The South African defence in the form of Honeyball is good. Marshall's got plenty of pace. Venter gets across for the tackle. Osborne, Turner, now Brook. And it looked like it could have moved forward. Marshall feeding again to Mertens. The All Blacks desperate to get something going here. This is Jeff Wilson, South Africa offside. And Peter Hendricks hasn't heard it, nor has Frank Bunce. It could be a bit of an argument here. Ruben Kriel thinks he's chucked away a try. But it all uses up valuable time for South Africa. 32 points to 8 and 7 minutes now on the clock.
André Venter met de besering. Wat gaan Nieuw-Zeeland maak? In die tweede helft Nieuw-Zeeland het baie meer strafskoppe gekry het. Ons sien in die eerste helft hoe Suid-Afrika heel wat meer strafskoppe gekry het as hulle toegeken is. Marshall met die bal. Het lyk asof Venter afkom.
Now chance again for the All Blacks. Olo Brown. Mertens was up there quickly. This is Zinzan, tackled by his opposite number. Josh Kronfeld, look at Honeyball, bring him to ground. Dalton's making a lot of telling tackles too. This is Michael Jones. People are holding on to just one leg. Great skill by Jeff Wilson. Mertens, Dowd. Marshall, Mertens. Looking for something, some inspiration, as has he found it. Oh, the uprights got in the way and the All Blacks have finally got their try. Walter Little it was who got in. Good work by Andy Mertens. He realised that Andre Joubert wasn't at the back, and then Walter Little following up very quickly.
Stadige aksie. Die skoppie vorentoe. Blitsnel volg hy sy eie skop op. Joos van der Westhuizen wat probeer daar kom. Die bal gaan terug teen die reg op paal. Goed opgevolg deur Walter Little.
And Andre Venter has been replaced. Wayne Fyvie gets onto the field for his second opportunity in a test match. Good hanging kick by Giles Shansky. Robin Brook is swamped. Teichmann was up there very quickly. Van der Westhuizen couldn't see any space on the outside. Offside by the All Blacks. And now they will want to slow it down. Good call by Gary Teichmann.
Goeie skeieregterskap daar. Ons het hom hoeveel keer in vandag se toets gesien hoe die All Blacks teruggehardloop kom met hulle hande bokant hulle kop en eintlik obstruksie pleeg.
Trouble for South Africa. Just van der Westhuizen, the scorer of 2 tries. And Andre Joubert just not getting the direction quite right that time. There's 4 minutes on the clock. Will Gary Teichmann be the victorious captain for the first time in his career? Mertens. Andre Joubert's back for it. A good punt by Andre Joubert.
Maar alle eer aan die Springbok pak. As 3 nuwe manne in die pak. Hulle het skitterende spel vandag gelewer. Baie meer druk as die vorige toets uitgevoer. Soos jy is hier, Mertens wat probeer wegkom. Dalton kry hom amper in die hande. Dan is Fritz van Heerden daar, so ook die kaptein Gary Teichman. Geen voordeel van daardie aanslaan binne in die lyn staan nie.
Well, a lot of tired players on this field. It's been a tough series. Gary Pagel in the loose head position. Zinzan controlling. Marshall, Mertens, Little. Tremendous tackle by Stransky. Mertens again. This is Jeff Wilson. Now the All Blacks switch the direction. Marshall, nowhere to go. Gets it away to Craig Dowd. Osborne, the scrum half position, taken on by Michael Jones. Marshall, Mertens, Little. Now it's Kronfeld. They'll drive away desperately, but I think the legs are a bit too wary. There's just 2 minutes to go. Osborne creating something, held back by Just van der Westhuizen. There are bodies lying all over the place. Dalton wrested away, but offside. The sands of time running out on the All Blacks. Zinzan, as ever, wants to get things going, desperate to try and create. Michael Jones in possession, Honeyball tries to grab. And the referee says another penalty, South Africa. Pagel gets it away, but the seconds tick by. Even the front rankers are getting a bit frustrated. The tackling is good. Wilson on the inside, and then taken on now by Olo Brown, driven by Fitzpatrick. Marshall, Brooke, he scored a try in each of the other 2 test matches. Can he do it again? Marshall, no, yes, Justin Marshall is over the line. Can they hold him up? And the referee gave them time to put it down. And I must say, these All Blacks never give up. Desperate defence by South Africa. In the last 15 minutes, South Africa have had very little of the ball.
Die hoeveelste losgemaal op Suid-Afrika gewen in Nieuw-Zeeland. Marius Harter, die eerste man wat die laag vat, mis daar. Nou is die bal in die lug. Gary Pagel hou daar vir hom in die lug, maar dan sit Craig Dowd wat deurkom. En ek dink heel moontlik kan 'n mens die 3 vir Craig Dowd gee.
I think he was the man who probably got the downward pressure on the ball. This is where Marshall made the little opening, gets through the first couple of tackles. He's a tough customer, is Marshall. Now you see the ball is off the ground. Now Dowd realizes it. Has he got it down? I think Marshall was actually the man with the ball in hand. Dowd just lent the extra weight. This is Zinzan. Look at this, trying to create for Mertens, who snaps it up so quickly. Walter Little, Bunce, Wilson. The All Blacks aren't finished yet, and South Africa have to defend like crazy. Josh Kronfeld goes in, flying in to get that ball. Marshall. Mertens drives away again. Somebody must tackle him. Now it's Wilson getting it on the inside once again to Osborne, and I think that could be South Africa's saviour. And the referee, there's a minute of injury time played. I was going to say he's blown his whistle a fraction early, but Derek Bevan has blown his whistle, and a historic event comes to an end.
Skitterende oorwinning vir Suid-Afrika. Bietjie verlore glorie en eer teruggewen. 32-22 die eindtelling. Die pak het weer eens baie goed gespeel. Die agterspelers se verdediging nie heeltemal na wens nie. Ek dink die All Black agterspelers het glad te maklik deur hulle gehardloop. Maar Sean Fitzpatrick wat sal teruggaan Nieu-Seeland toe as die eerste All Black kaptein wat 'n reeks in Suid-Afrika gewen het. Die truie wat geruil word, eendag sal dit onmiddellik opgevuil word in hierdie nuwe kommersiële era wat ons in is. En Sean Fitzpatrick wat sy manne hier om Ellis Park gelei en totsiens sê aan die Suid-Afrikaanse skare.
And they've walked over to the corner where there are thousands of New Zealand supporters and just said thanks for their support, and then just a nod of acknowledgement to the rest of the crowd. And it has been historic, because the first time in history the All Blacks will leave South Africa's shores being the victorious side. A pulsating test match. South Africa had built up enough of a lead. That'll be a prized possession for James Dalton. Darby Theron, who had to come off and replaced by Gary Pagel. In the front of your screen there, you see there Wayne Fyvie, who gets his second cap. And it's been a very, very tough period of play. Never so intense. Lee Late delighted with the performance of South Africa. They've come away. The result